you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're reaching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
And when the ones you trust to be fair and just turn on you,
and you're all alone in the great unknown, and you don't know what you should do,
find your heart of hearts overflowing
with knowing and bliss. What your heart says you should do.
It's the most precious part of you.
That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
It tells you who you're meant to be, and gives you the strength to believe. Don't settle for less than your dreams. Do what your heart says you should do.
It's the most precious part of you.
That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm. You're searching for the truth.
Do what your heart says. Do what your heart says.
There's a treasure map hidden in the depth of your soul.
If you find that map and you take that path, it will lead you to the golden heart of hearts,
overflowing
with knowing and bliss.
If you get that far,
just keep going, remembering this. Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
and when the ones you trust to be fair and just turn on you,
and you're all alone in the great unknown, and you don't know
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday service here at Center for Spiritual Living St. George. It is my pleasure to open up service this morning for everyone. My name is Chris McCardle. I'm a practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living. We are an open and loving and inclusive community, and we support thinking creatively and honoring all paths to whatever your spiritual path might be. So as we open up service, I'm just going to invite Cheryl Barlow in. She's going to start us off with song. I'll be doing the invocation. Alan will be reading our Sacred Covenant today. And our guest speaker is Joe Kovach, and he will be doing the talk. So let me go ahead and bring in Cheryl.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Chris. So we're going to go ahead and just remind ourselves why we're here and why we join in, and just give us that opportunity to connect to Spirit and let that speak to us this morning. This is a beautiful song that I recently discovered by Amber Darland, who is a wonderful, talented New Thought singer-songwriter. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well within my soul. Peace be my offering forevermore. Love be known. Peace be my offering forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well within my soul. And now, Chris, we invite you to come back and we will lead our invocation.
All righty. So let's all just settle in, get ourselves ready for service. Let the environment around us just simply fade away as we come together in service. And as we recognize that one divine energy, the beautiful force that some call God, some call Spirit, some call the universe. I know I'm one with that very essence. I'm one with that power, that every breath I take, every word I speak is the flow of that beautiful energy. And I know that my faith holds the key in all of that I do in my life as I move forward. And I know that our service opens with joy, with all kinds of beautiful, inspirational messages. And I recognize this in gratitude as we open service, as we begin. So in a welcoming, gratitudeful heart, I open service by saying, and so it is.
So it is. So these lyrics are going to be up on screen, and I invite you to sing along and just affirm these powerful, powerful words. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. Holy, I awaken forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well within my soul. Peace be my offering. Peace be my offering. Forevermore. Love be known. Peace be my offering. Forevermore. Love be known. All is right. All is well within my soul. Sing that again. All is right. All is right. All is well within my soul. And now I would like to invite Alan Stanley, and he is going to do our Sacred Covenant reading today. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Cheryl. Wonderful song. We know that our new minister is at our doorstep. And as I read the Sacred Covenant, if you wish, please read along. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, I know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express God, I therefore know that my new minister reveals wholeness. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which we believe, for it is written, "Let us learn to draw the divine substance down into our lives, and as freely as it has been given to us, let us give it to others. Thus alone shall we be made whole." Ernest Holmes. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as growing the sinner in joy and prosperity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing the truth about myself, for I live the presence and law of God. I demonstrate wisdom through a mature understanding of the wholeness of life. I am accountable and willing to take full responsibility for my actions. I participate in and support the nurturance and guidance of the community. I act from wholeness and congruence in thought, word, and action. I walk the talk. I embrace, and please mention your feelings here, I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, knowing that they are revealed in a way that expresses God and serves the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful.
Amen. Ah, beautiful. So we are in the month of September, so we have a new theme. This month, the theme is Facing the Fear. And our focus this week is a question of faith. And certainly one of the most well-known commentaries on faith is from the Christian Bible, Hebrews 11:1, which says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Ralph Waldo Emerson very succinctly said, "All I have seen teaches me to trust the Creator for all I have not seen." And Ernest Holmes noted that it is wonderful to contemplate the mental attitude of people who are not afraid to believe their prayers will be answered. Certainly, this question of faith is an inside job. I hear the words I say, and I know they're from the heart. But are they just a wish I pray and hope they don't fall apart? Do I give up too soon, like shooting for the moon? Doubt hiding in the shadow of my mind. Or do I see it through? Do I become the truth? Expecting nothing less than all that I align. I see the thing I choose, I imagine it's so clear. But is it just a pretty muse? Do I believe it will appear? Is my prayer complete? Can I feel my heartbeat in rhythm with the force of the divine? Is it true and whole, becoming all I know? Holding fast until the change is surely mine. I hear the words I say, and I know they're from the heart. Namaste.
Yeah, I was dancing there, Cheryl. I love that song. It was slow, but I was still just getting into the groove. Loved it.
Grooving it,
Beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. So right now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Once again, we've got Joe Kovach here with us. Always a powerful talk. He's going to take it from here. Loving having you, Joe. We always love it when you're our guest speaker. So go ahead and take it away, man.
Well, I appreciate it. And man, what a good day to be alive. You know, I really appreciate CSL St. George and Chris and Alan and Marina and Cheryl for that beautiful music. And I appreciate the opportunity to, it's been almost a regular thing now, once a month, the first Sunday. And as a ministerial student, it's so great to be able to reach out what I've been learning for the past 3 years, finishing my final year now. So here we go. We're going to talk about fears. And as you heard Cheryl announce, the theme for the month is Facing the Fear. And today's talk title is A Question of Faith. And so I really wanted to get in part and be ready for this talk today. So I cut my hair for you this morning. And I hope you can see I did a good job. So this talk title, you know, many times during the week when I know ahead of time what the talk title is, it just sits there and it stirs. And it was a very busy week for me. I work in education at a charter school, so it's been pretty hectic. And Thursday night, I set the intention before I went to bed and simply said, all right, Spirit, you know, over this night of sleep, this grand sleep, my intention is that the blueprint for this talk will be ready. And literally within seconds, I got the answer to the point where I had to reach over, grab my phone, and put this down. And when we talk about fear, it can be a scary thing just talking about fear. It's those things that we avoid. It's the thing that we don't want to look at often. And unfortunately, with in our own ignorance, we often continue to reproduce the things we don't want because of simple ignorance again. So what came to me was that we're looking at fear in the sense of three things, three levels. And we're going to go through these levels. I'm going to announce them now. Fear level 1 is fear is a prayer for what we don't want. Level 2 is fear is a habitual attitude. It's a pattern of thought, feeling, and response. And level 3, in essence, is fear is that we're not truly trusting that which we call God to lead our life. So let's take a look at level 1. Fear is a prayer for what we don't want or desire to experience. And level 1, and here I want to, before we continue, no matter what level we find ourselves at, we're all in a sense at all three levels. It's just kind of some days, I don't know about you, but I know I'm having an off day or I'm finding myself in fear of something I want. And I can't always go to the deepest level of my soul to fix it, and to reveal the truth that we know is there. We say it's there. We know it's there. We've seen it before. And yet, how do I move through it? And so for each level, we're going to cover also how to face the fear. So again, level 1, fear is a prayer for what we don't want or desire to experience. So simplistically, we hear about new thought, science of mind, thoughts become things. And so if thoughts become things, why is there something scary showing up in my life? Right? I'm fearful of it. And often it's something that we want. In the beginning of being able to do these talks, it was fearful. As a matter of fact, my 10-year-old daughter, Jophiel, asked me last night, Daddy, do you still get scared for talks? Are you scared about talking tomorrow? And I said, well, now I've practiced it, so I get nervous. And we're going to come back to that. So even though we may be nervous and fearful, let's listen to what Ernest Holmes says, as you can read there. We know the background of human thought is, to a great extent, one of negation, a denial of a harmonious and spiritual universe. Consequently, our outlook on life must be transformed by the renewing of the mind, right? Science of mind. And even when the results are not immediately forthcoming, we must still maintain a calm serenity of thought. So if you notice the picture there off to the right, is kind of like a broadcasting antenna. And so in a level 1, at a level 1 idea of facing fear, the idea is to simply recognize whatever is out in front of me. In a sense, I am broadcasting. The song that we just heard a little bit about from Cheryl talked about being responsible, right? So I'm responsible for my thoughts. And if I look at it in a scary way, then in a sense, what am I looking at? I'm focusing on something that I don't want, and that's simply showing up. Level 1. Again, thoughts become things. I'm feeling scared. And often, this is the thing, is it's an opportunity, because when we're often feeling feared or things come up out of nowhere and they surprise us, which causes us to be in fear and anxiety, we're kind of creating in that default unconscious mode, so we're really not thinking about what we're thinking about. And so in a level 1 way, how do we face the fear? Well, simply as we learn to become more aware and conscious of what I'm thinking and feeling. So whether it's something about, I've been complaining a lot about my car and traffic and transportation, and then all of a sudden that check engine light comes on and it puts me in fear, there's a level of responsibility to that. Okay, and so what else do I do? Well, maybe now I want to shift my thinking to something that I want, something of appreciation, something of gratitude, because we know that feels better, and feeling better takes us out of the fear. Would I want what I'm thinking about or focusing on right now to manifest in form? So if I become aware, and when I become more aware of what I'm talking or thinking about and talking about, I have to every now and then pause. And I've caught myself several times in this hectic week complaining, and focusing on those things that I definitely would not want to manifest. Now, even if it's like a thing like, it's a conversation, but the energy of it, would you want that energy to manifest into something in your life right now? And often it's not. And we spend a lot of time and energy, in a sense, defending our right to feel that way. And here's the blessing. You can feel that way. In essence, there's nothing wrong with complaining and feeling itself. It's not the best and highest way. And if we want to move through fear at level 1, we need to simply shift from focusing on what we don't want to what we do. But that leads to the last thing, which is I need to start by knowing what I want instead of this. And often, as a life coach, I spend a lot of time with people, and many people, including myself in some areas, we don't know what we really want. We don't spend a lot of time in what we want. We spend a lot of time in what we don't want, and we know that. And with the simple change of recognizing when we're experiencing fear, that gives us an opportunity at level 1 to say, what do I want instead of this? So let's move to level 2. Level 2 says fear is a habitual attitude, a pattern of thought, feeling, and response. So now we're getting a little more cognitive, a little more deeper than a simplistic attitude of that fear is something showing up that I don't want. And in order to make it effective in our lives, we need to take more responsibility for level 2. So Ernest Holmes has some great quotes on this. First, he says, fear is the greatest enemy of man, but fear is a mental attitude, and as such, can be converted into something else. So I want to make sure the way I talk about attitude is known. And attitude for me is 3 things. It's your level of thought, it's your level of feeling, and then it's either your response and therefore your results. When those are aligned, okay, especially when we're thinking about what we want, then that shows up. When fear shows up, we've aligned our thoughts and feelings with that, and therefore our result is one of fear. So to me, Ernest Holmes is recognizing, look, this is the great enemy of man. We feel this fear and we believe in it. And so we recognize at this level 2, though, that it's a process. It's a habit. That's what habitual means. We've created this mostly unknowingly. Again, out of ignorance, out of something often that we pick up from when we're young. As a psychology major, we know that even up until now, they're saying the age of 16, that our filter isn't fully formed. So often we just say yes to everything that we're learning. So the good, the bad, the ugly, as they say, we know there's no bad, but we take it all in, and we don't necessarily have the ability to filter and say, this isn't for me. We look at it and go, oh, that's true. Oh, that must be true. Oh, I look up to this person and they're doing it, so that must be the right way. And this person's shouting from the rooftops about this, and that must be the way. So we get caught up in a lot of other people's habitual patterns. And it's not until we're a little older that we can begin to cognitively think about them. Is this really what I want to believe? So Holmes goes on in this next quote to say, fear blocks the more complete givingness of the spirit to its highest form of manifestation on this planet, which is mankind. Fear arises from that mental attitude once again, which limits the possibility and the willingness of spirit to give us the good we so greatly desire. So not only, we recognize that it's a habit, but it's a habit of blocking our own good, right? We know that that which we call God, spirit, and life is for us. It's just there in its fullness being. And we, through this amazing thing we call life, get to choose. And recognizing that fear is a habitual pattern, okay, gives us, as Ernest Holmes says, the ability to change it. But again, it starts with awareness. So can we recognize in our lives, where does it show up? There's a lot of times I've gone through things, and with this practice, I love science of mind because it's something I practice every day. And in the beginning, yes, it almost seems overwhelming. I remember when I really first started on this journey, this spiritual journey, and someone said, well, we need this. Why don't you spend a day and kind of pay attention to how often your thoughts are on something that you really don't want? Level 1, right? And it was horrifying. I mean, it was like probably 90%. I even recognized that when someone said good morning to me, I would say, hey, back, good morning, and then immediately have a but. Yeah, it's good morning, but, but I didn't sleep well, but I'm not feeling well, but we got all this work to do, but. And I was like, wow, had no idea I did that. And believe it or not, there's still sometimes I catch myself doing that, and that's a good 15 years later. So this habitual pattern takes a little while to break, to replace. So how do we face the fear at level 2? Well, because it's an attitude, we get to choose to persistently practice the new attitude until it replaces the old, and until we reach the expected experience or better. So there's a saying that says practice makes perfect. And there's a lot of signs up there that say that. And if you actually know the Latin root of perfect, it means complete. But in the West, we don't use it that way. We have this idea of perfect as in you couldn't change it. It couldn't get any better. But in Science of Mind and New Thought, we know that it's all in the world. This is an infinite world. We know this. We can't limit God, and we definitely don't want to limit our own good. So let's just begin by practicing towards what we want to show up. If I recognize I have a particular bad habit, okay, let me be easy on myself. Let me show me the grace that God shows me each and every day, recognizing that I'm surrounded by this infinite, powerful spirit that is simply wanting the best for me now and always. That gives me inspiration to want to move forward. So now if I shift it to practice makes progress, I don't know about you, but I'm the type of attitude where I like to do things that show me progress, right? And in the previous quote, he talks about, he mentions it, and I know it's on the last page, but he says, I'm going to read the second part again. He says, fear arises from the mental attitude which limits the possibility and the willingness of spirit to give us the good we so greatly deserve. And then he says before that we tend to limit this good. So the more we practice, the more we give ourselves this opportunity to feel good and to reach through that level of fear and get to that new place, that new desire. A level 2 understanding too of fear. I caught an old episode of Super Soul Sunday with Oprah, and she happened to be interviewing Reverend Michael Beckwith from Agape. And where I landed in this, again, how divinely perfect, was he had the quote, and he says, pain pushes until the vision pulls. So I look at pain and fear similar often, because if we have enough fear, we tend to feel pain. We believe that we're not that we don't have what we need, and therefore we're fearful and we bring in ourselves pain. And so this idea, again, I'm going to say it slowly, pain pushes until the vision pulls. Meaning if we're in fear, okay, often that's a good thing. Cognitively, because we're recognizing there's something that we need. Well, we don't need to, but we're going to want to change in order to feel peace and serenity that we know exists. And so if we recognize that this pain, this fear is actually pushing us to something, at some level, we're going to get sick and tired of being afraid. And what happens is when we do that just beautiful surrendering, then this new vision that's already awaiting us pulls us the rest of the way. It allows us to move through the fear. And again, the best way is to take these baby steps. What can you do today, okay, to take a step through a fearful situation? Maybe it's a medical situation. Maybe it's a relationship situation. Maybe it's a work situation. There's situations that bring fear all the time. And shifting your attitude, and the last thing which is there is staying in the now and allow. It's something, in a sense, when you practice it becomes easy. I remember, it's probably been a while ago now, 7-8 years, but I went skydiving. And I was excited because at one level I have really vivid dreams, and I had dreamed twice of skydiving, and it was just, I was there. Mind, body, soul. I felt the wind. I could see in clear color. It was just beautiful, and I wanted to experience that. But let me tell you something. From the very moment that I opened my gift, which my wife bought me, and it was a gift certificate to go skydiving, I was like, sweet, I get to go skydiving. And then the fear came in. Oh my God, I'm going to jump out of a plane. Whoa, this is reality now, right? So there's one thing to bring to the mind, and now we're bringing it into manifestation. So long story short, I get there, and the training that they talk about for me was like, I swear, it couldn't have been more than 3 minutes. And then he's like, all right, walk with me. We're going to go take a look at the plane. And I didn't even say goodbye to anybody because I thought I was coming back. My wife and children were there. And all of a sudden I'm on the plane and we're getting ready to go. And so I'm buckled into this guy behind me and we're going up. And the whole while I'm feeling, I mean, you can imagine fear, like heart and throat. I feel I'm sweating, you know, I know this, but it's something that I wanted to do. And yet, so I kept asking myself, am I okay right now? Right now. And I knew I could answer yes. I'm sitting in a plane. I'm healthy. I'm a little scared, but I'm okay. I am well. And I kept asking myself this all the way. And then all of a sudden they opened the side door. There were two individual jumpers that were jumping before me. And I see them just throw themselves out of the plane. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? That's crazy. Like I've seen it in TV a million times. But like they just jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. And so now it's my turn. He's like, are you ready? And part of me is like, yes, I want to do this. And the other part of me was so resistant. I can tell you if I wasn't strapped to this guy, I probably would have climbed up next to the pilot. And so now I'm sitting on the edge and my feet are hanging out of the plane. And the thought came to me like, your feet are hanging out of a perfectly good airplane. What is wrong with you? And yet he's like, let's go. And we jumped. And yes, I was fearful. And then I opened my eyes and there was my dream. It was absolutely like ineffable, right? There's no words for it. You just have to experience it. And so just like it was progress. Am I okay now? Am I okay now? How's my attitude? Thinking, feeling, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. There's a little fear, but how am I now? Checking back to the now and then just allow. And I moved through that. And I can tell you, I would do it again. And yes, I would definitely still be fearful at some level, but having that experience of success builds that courage to continue to face any fear that comes. And I'm knowing that as you do this, as we take on fears and we move through step by step, being easy on ourselves. Yes, there's going to be times when I fall back, and that's okay, right? We don't want to run into something that we're not prepared for. And at a deeper level, when we move to level 3 here in a moment, we're going to realize that we're okay no matter what. So let's do that now. Let's move to level 3. Oh, well, level 2, actually, I forgot. I want to include a couple examples of people that you may want to look into. If you haven't heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's an amazing person. And the number 1, 2, and 3 there are simply books that he offers. And the reason I want to mention him because he recognizes there's a process in changing our lives as well, particularly moving through fearful states or just when we know we're stuck and we don't know how to move through it. So he talks about this unique thing, and I read it in the second book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, that thinking and feeling equal our state of being. And so we know in science of mind that our thoughts are causal, meaning our thoughts make things, create things. We co-create through our thinking. And feeling adds the energy to it. Well, he says what happens is, because fear, as we know in a psychological way, is all based in thinking and thoughts and experiences of the past. So he says what happens is our body goes through a situation that it's afraid, and we lock that in mentally. And then when a similar idea comes up, the brain kind of says, uh-oh, and we tend, as human beings, to listen to our body instead of our thinking. Let me say that again. So we reverse it. My body says I'm fearful. So that means if I'm in fear, I should stop. I can't do this. It's bad. And he has some methodology through meditation that you can get on YouTube where he works us through basically looking at from the end product. You've heard this idea before, but in other words, if I want perfect health, I put myself in a meditation of recognizing where I am, but then flipping it to thinking and feeling and being in my mind that state of perfect health. So I definitely recommend you look up him. And then a woman who I'd love to share with you is Byron Katie. She has an incredibly unique story, and I don't have time to share all that. But Byron Katie wrote Loving What Is. And from her work, she actually has a thing called The Work. You can see the address there. Oh, the numbers got screwed up there a little bit. So Number 3 is actually, so there's 4 questions she asks to her work. The first one is number 3, actually, is it true? So if I'm in a situation that I'm feeling frustrated or fearful, is it true? Now, often right away, our mind will say yes, but you need to sit with that. Is it really, really true? Like, if I'm fearful, you go into, what am I really thinking and feeling? I'm afraid of, I won't get the job, let's say. And if I don't get the job, what are your deeper thoughts? I'm in fear. That I'm not enough, that I can't do it, that I'll never get there, right? Now we ask ourselves, is that true? And maybe I still say, yes, it's true. And the second question down, which is number 4, says, can you absolutely know it's true? Now, what this does is it makes us take full responsibility for it, especially when we're talking about someone else or something unknown. So even for, let's say, flip it around and let's say someone's bullying me because they don't like me or whatever. Do I actually positively, absolutely know that the reason they're saying what they're saying is because of that? And of course, the answer is no. I can't possibly truly know what's going on in somebody else's mind. And then the next step is, how do we react? Like, what happens when you believe that thought? And often, okay, this forces us to go inside. And like I said earlier, a lot of times we don't know what we want. We also don't really know what we're feeling. And so this causes us to go inside and identify, what emotions are you feeling? And then lastly, who would you be without that thought? Who would you be if you weren't fearful of not getting the job, of failing a test, of not making your weight goal, of whatever? In the end, it's, I'll be okay. I'm okay right now. Well, I'll never get there. Let's say you never get there. Are you going to be okay? Well, I really want to. Yes, but will you be okay? Knowing the greatness of who you are. You're fine, perfect, whole, complete, right where you are. We know this through science of mind. We'll be okay. And through this process, and you can look her up on YouTube for examples, it's amazing how she shifts people's attitude, right? Attitude. And often pretty quickly. So definitely, I suggest looking her up. So let's move to level 3. Fear is not trusting God's spirit or life, however you want to call that, is not knowing we are, and it's also, sorry, let me say it again. Fear is not trusting God or spirit or life, and it's not knowing we are one with all. So Ernest Holmes says, fear is a belief in limitation, a denial that the divine is the center and the source of all good. We must do all in our power to overcome it. Quote, perfect love casts out fear. That is, confidence overcomes the depression of doubt. So again, going back to level 2, when you give yourself these small steps of reaching your goals and feeling better, this will guide you through that, in a sense, depression. Depression meaning you're holding yourself back from the great good that we know is there. And often level 3, we look at ourselves and we have to admit often that we're feeling fear because we, little me, little Joe, can't figure this out. How could I ever get through this circumstance? And that's where we have to recognize that there's a greater source, okay, that we truly are, but from our limited human perspective, we're not there yet. And so we open ourselves up knowing that the divine, that spirit is the center, right, and the master creator of all. Fear is the reverse mental attitude to faith and is a result of lack of faith. So remember, I know going back to a question of faith was the title of this talk, and I'm going to get to that. I wanted to say that. The Spirit has not withheld from us, but ignorance of the true law of supply has caused us to fear. So again, ignorance is, I can't figure it out. Ignorance is a belief that there is limitation, often because of what we can see, feel, taste, and touch. It's not here now. So how could it ever come? And yet we forget that we're on this beautiful ball that is spinning through space, spinning around all these other beautiful balls, and everything's happening perfectly for us to have this experience called life. So I think about that sometimes when I think about how could such and such happen, right? It's like, it can happen. I don't care how, because in the end, when I have faith, I leave it up to that. I trust. So how to face the fear at level 3? recognizing again that I don't feel like I'm trusting in God. And that's okay. That's not wrong. It's just where you're at. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure of mind in man, is what Ernest Holmes says. So again, he recognizes that this is a heck of a journey. Maybe it's the whole reason we're here. I'm not sure. What I say is believing and acting as if this life is an adventure, that we will continue to exist after this life, and in fact forever, will aid us in releasing our greatest fears. Right? In other words, if I knew that I wasn't on a timetable, would I be okay if I don't get this done now? If I don't become millionaire status before I die? If I don't get the job I think I want right now before, a lot of times we fear this death is I have to do it now. And if I don't get it now, how many times have we heard that our ship has sailed, right? I hope you still don't believe in that fairy tale. Although I was told that growing up by many people that meant it, and still I'll hear people say that. And now I just bless them where they're at. And I bless that the greater knowing comes to them, recognizing their own freedom. Okay. So what if, and I know it's true for me, what if life was truly infinite? Could we back off the pressure of ourselves to push, even through fear? Do we have to do it right this second? Can we be easy on ourselves? Can we take a nice, easy ride and allow it to happen naturally, to evolve through us? And one of the great quotes that, we have a couple more. Sorry, I forgot. Truth has rushed to meet you. Oh, so this is from A Course in Miracles. And yes, this is one of my favorite quotes. Truth has rushed to meet you since you called upon it. If you knew who walked beside you on the path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. And that should actually be a period, not a comma. Read that one more time for yourself. Now, when we talk about who, in the particular book of Course in Miracles, the author's talking about who their version of what they call Jesus. I ask you to look to an even greater knowing, is the source that created everyone and everything. It's here right now. And as we call out, I'm afraid, help me, that prayer is answered. I firmly believe that every time. And maybe as we continue to be in this pain of fear, eventually we build up the courage to the point to where that vision pulls us. It doesn't have to be a rough ride. We are surrounded by people that want to help us. So let us stop holding back ourselves from that greater good that Spirit is trying to give us right here and right now. We know this is a fun world. We know this is a joyful world. Even everything we're going through globally, there is so much good going on. We just have to have the right attitude to look for it. And we can start today at level 1. Start on that journey of working through our fears, facing the fear and realizing what it is. It's just yet another circumstance. And that kind of in a sense is showing me I believe in limitation in some way. And the next question is, and always is, what's my question of faith? What is my truth? Can we trust that your truth will light the way? Do we believe in the loves and the divineness of ourselves? Do we believe in this? We have to believe in this first. And then open ourselves up to the greater knowing. Right? Our truth will light the way. It's the only way. We're on this together, yet we have a beautiful individual mind that we can use. And right now, I'm going to move into prayer. So I ask you to just relax and knowing that this one presence, this one divine principle, knowing this one love is the source of all. It is a source of wellness. It is a source of beauty. And it is a source of truth. It is a source that continually and constantly gives of itself fully in expression in every place. As it is said, there is no spot where God is not. So I am knowing that this beloved community, everyone listening to this, no matter when it is, receives the blessing of knowing how great thou art. That God is expressing in, as, and through me, you, us, right here, right now, in its fullness. and that truly fear is just a shift in mental attitude to seeing the truth. That fear allows us to look at ourselves in a new way, to make changes, to feel the satisfaction of accomplishing something that we didn't think we could before, to opening ourselves to something greater, a greater and yet a coming back to home, to where we knew we are living our lives in perfection, right here, right now. Blessing each and every one of you, blessing Center for Spiritual Living St. George, and let's affirm this together. And so it is. May your truth light the way. Thank you.
And so it is. Man, Joe, you did it again. I just, you just, that's what I love about this teaching is that no matter how long we've been in it, it just keeps reinventing itself and reminding us. And I know as soon as I stop being taught or being involved in our teaching, that I go back to the first level of consciousness, so to speak. And it's just I'm constantly still, after 30 years of this teaching, going in and out of all these different levels. But you know what? They get shorter. They get much, much, much shorter. And I start to recognize them. So, Joe, we love you. We are so appreciative of you. And we'll see you the first Sunday of next month.
I appreciate that very much. Blessings to all. Namaste.
Yep.
And I'm going to join you in speaking our prayer in a minute. So I'm going to stay by and stay with you.
Cool. So I hope you all got as much out of that as I did. I just love when Joe talks. I love all of our speakers. We've got so many wonderful speakers lined up for you in the future. And some of our old regulars that just keep coming back that we all love. So it's come time for our conscious contribution. As you guys know, we are maintaining the center, even though we are doing the broadcast live. We are working diligently to bring you these shows, not shows, but Sunday services, and we keep them going. So we do invite you to contribute. There are several different ways you can contribute. You can give by text. You can go to the CSL St. George Breeze website. All of this stuff is all available to you. So we do invite you to join us after service on our Zoom meeting. You can find that link on our website. It's also in the newsletter. Joe will be with us, and we'll be discussing the talk and some of the point lessons that were given to us today. So please join us with that. And our community care circle is still up and running. If you or yours have any kind of just need for support, for spiritual support, for help, whatever it might be, reach out to the community care circle and let us know and let us be there for you. It's our privilege to serve you in those ways. And then also our practitioners are always ready and available. If you need a little prayer, if you just want a little kick, just reach out to us and we'll just do a prayer. We'll help you, just sort of walk through whatever it is you're experiencing. We have a book club coming on September 15th. Sue Fulmer is going to lead it. It's going to be an online discussion group based on the book of Soul by Mark Nepo. It's going to be Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, and it'll be a Zoom meeting. So if you're interested, just hit us up here. We'll let Sue know, or you can email suegfulmer@gmail.com, and she'll get with you and give you more of the details and all that stuff. And now it is time for our closing affirmation. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring everybody in and we are going to read it together, and we will go ahead and begin that when we can see the screen. And it now says, let's do this together. I'm going to start off and we'll take it from there. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
Yay, we did it. Another service. We're so glad you all joined us. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. We look forward to seeing you here next Sunday, or we do love our Zoom meetings. Please have a blessed and beautiful week. We'll see you next Sunday. Our theme is going to be skepticism, doubt, and faith. So we're keeping online with our monthly themes. We look forward to hearing from you. I believe Elijah is going to be our next guest speaker next Sunday, so do join us then. Have a blessed and beautiful week. We love you, and we are so grateful that you all are here with us today. Bye-bye.
We're all.